I need to explore other men before we marry, Ruby told Adam, expecting him to nod and understand. Instead, he smiled calmly and said, then explore this. Our engagement's off. Her world froze as he walked out, leaving her to face the cost of her freedom. Ruby's laughter echoed across the Miami Beach boardwalk as she and Adam raced their rented bikes, weaving through tourists and dodging seagulls. The sun dipped low, painting the sky orange, but Ruby's energy burned brighter. At 28, she was a graphic designer who lived for bold choices. Last month, she'd convinced Adam to kayak through the Everglades at dawn, chasing adrenaline and news stories. Adam, 30, a software engineer with a knack for solving problems, kept pace, his grin wide, but steady. They'd been a unit for 3 years, their lives intertwined like the playlists they curated for road trips. Their friends envied their chemistry, shared dreams of a waterfront condo, late-night talks about starting a family, and a wedding plan for a quiet Coconut Grove venue in just 2 months. But as they parked their bikes near a bustling taco stand, Ruby's smile flickered. She leaned against the railing, staring at the waves crashing under the pier. Adam noticed, tossing her a water bottle. "You good?" he asked, his tone light but searching. She nodded, but her fingers twisted the bottle cap too tightly. Something had been gnawing at her for weeks, a restlessness she couldn't name. She loved Adam, his quiet strength, his way of making her feel seen. Yet, as their wedding loomed, a question haunted her. Was she ready to lock her life into one path without exploring what else she could be? That night, at their favorite South Beach diner, Ruby pushed her fries around her plate. The neon signs buzzed outside, and the jukebox played a low hum of classic rock. Adam was scrolling through a work email, oblivious to her unease. She took a breath, her heart pounding like it did before a big client pitch. "Adam, I need to talk about something," she said, her voice cutting through the diner's chatter. He looked up, eyebrows raised, setting his phone down. "What's up?" She didn't hesitate. "I've been thinking about us, about the wedding. I love you, but I feel like I need to explore before we settle down." Her words came fast, rehearsed. "Not emotionally, not like that. I mean physically. Other experiences, other people. Just to know who I am before I'm your wife." She leaned forward, eyes pleading for understanding. "It's not about you. It's about me being whole for us." Adam's face froze, his fork hovering midair. The diner's noise seemed to fade, leaving only the weight of her words. He set the fork down, deliberate, his jaw tight. "You're saying you want to sleep with other guys? 2 months before our wedding?" His voice was low, controlled, but Ruby caught the edge in it. She nodded, trying to explain. "It's not betrayal. It's honesty. I want to come to you complete, without regrets. We're strong enough for this, right?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he leaned back, staring at the table like it held answers. Ruby waited, her pulse racing, expecting him to argue or ask questions. But Adam just stood, grabbed his jacket, and said, "I need some air." He walked out, leaving her alone with her half-eaten fries and a sinking feeling she'd miscalculated. Outside, Adam didn't head home. He drove to his friend Jake's apartment in Brickell, crashing on the couch without explanation. By midnight, he'd texted the wedding venue to cancel their deposit, his fingers shaking as he typed. The next morning, Ruby woke to an empty apartment. Adam's running shoes were gone, his coffee mug untouched. She checked her phone. No messages. Panic crept in, but she pushed it down, convincing herself he just needed time. She called her friend Sophia, meeting her at a Wynwood cafe. Over iced lattes, Ruby spilled everything, her voice steady but urgent. "It's not about loving him less. It's about knowing myself. He'll get it, won't he?" Sophia stirred her drink, uneasy. "Ruby, you're asking a lot. Adam's not the type to share, even temporarily." Ruby waved it off, insisting their trust was unbreakable. But Adam wasn't processing it the way she hoped. At his office, he buried himself in code, rewriting a buggy algorithm to avoid thinking about her words. His coworker, Mia, noticed his distraction and asked what was wrong. He shrugged, saying only, "Rough night." By afternoon, he'd called his parents, telling them the wedding might be off. His mom pressed for details, but he kept it vague. "We're not on the same page anymore." That evening, he posted a short update on social media. "Life's taking a new turn. Thanks for all the love and support." No blame, no drama, just a line drawn. Ruby saw the post while scrolling at a bar with Sophia. Her stomach dropped. She texted Adam, "Can we talk? Please?" No reply. She tried calling, but it went to voicemail. Desperate, she drove to their apartment, hoping he'd be there. The place was dark, his keys missing from the hook. She sat on the couch, staring at the vision board they'd made. Photos of beaches, a sketch of their future home, a sticky note with "forever" scrawled in his handwriting. For the first time, she wondered if her need for freedom had cost her something she couldn't replace. Ruby's phone buzzed on the counter of her favorite Coral Gables juice bar, but it wasn't Adam. It was a confirmation email from the caterer, asking about menu changes for a wedding that no longer existed. She deleted it, her fingers trembling, and ordered another smoothie to distract herself. 3 days had passed since Adam walked out of the diner, and his silence was deafening. She'd left voicemails, sent texts, even emailed, but he hadn't responded. Her confidence in their unbreakable bond was crumbling, replaced by a gnawing fear she'd pushed him too far. She called her friend Mateo, a photographer who'd always been blunt, and met him at a bustling Ocean Drive cafe. "I thought honesty would make us stronger," she said, stirring her espresso. Mateo leaned forward, skeptical. "You told him you want other guys. That's not honesty, it's a grenade. Adam's not coming back from that." Ruby bristled, insisting she just needed a brief detour to feel complete. Mateo shook his head. "You're gambling with something most people don't survive." Meanwhile, Adam was dismantling their shared life with surgical precision. He moved his clothes to Jake's apartment, leaving only a note for Ruby. "I'll grab the rest later. We're done." He canceled the florist, the DJ, and the honeymoon booking to Tulum, each call a step toward closing the chapter. At work, he pitched a new AI project to his boss, channeling his pain into ambition. His team noticed his focus, mistaking it for drive rather than distraction. After hours, he joined a pickup basketball game at a downtown court, sweating out the ache of Ruby's words. His friend Jake, tossing him a water bottle, pressed for details. "She wanted an open pass before the wedding," Adam said, voice flat. Jake whistled low. "And you're not even yelling? Man, you're stronger than me." Adam Shuruk. Yelling doesn't fix broken trust. Ruby, desperate to prove she wasn't wrong, downloaded a dating app that night. She swiped through profiles, her heart racing not from excitement, but defiance. She matched with Lucas, a charming bartender from South Beach, and agreed to drinks at a rooftop lounge. Their conversation flowed, cocktails, travel stories, her design projects. But when he leaned in for a kiss, she hesitated, picturing Adam's steady gaze. She pushed the thought away, kissed Lucas, and told herself this was freedom. The next week, she met Diego, a real estate agent, for tacos in Little Havana. His flirtatious banter felt thrilling, but the thrill faded when she got home to an empty apartment. Each date was a checkbox, a step toward the completeness she'd sold to herself, yet the void grew. Adam, meanwhile, wasn't chasing distractions. He signed up to mentor at a Miami youth center, teaching coding to teens on weekends. During a session, he met Lena, a pediatric nurse volunteering to teach first aid. She was direct, laughing easily as she bandaged a fake wound on a kid's arm during a demo. They talked over coffee afterward, swapping stories about their chaotic workdays. Lena mentioned her love for hiking, and Adam, surprising himself, shared his old habit of sunrise runs. She didn't pry about his past, and he appreciated the absence of pressure. They exchanged numbers, but he didn't call. His focus was on rebuilding, not replacing. Ruby's friend started pulling away. Sophia canceled a brunch, citing work, and Mateo stopped replying to her texts. She sensed their judgment, their loyalty split between her and Adam. At a design pitch for a new client, her focus slipped, and her boss noticed, pulling her aside. "You're off your game, Ruby. Sort it out." That night, she scrolled through Adam's social media, now private, and saw a tagged photo from the youth center. He was smiling, surrounded by teens holding laptops, looking lighter than she remembered. Jealousy spiked, but so did doubt. Had she misread him entirely? She tried one more time to reach him, driving to Jake's apartment in Brick Hill. Adam answered the door, his expression neutral. "What do you want, Ruby?" he asked, not inviting her in. She stumbled through an apology, saying she didn't mean to hurt him, that she'd reconsidered. He cut her off. "You chose this. I'm not an experiment." He closed the door, leaving her on the stoop, the Miami heat pressing against her. Back home, She opened the dating app again, matching with a musician named Caleb. They met at a Winwood bar, his guitar case propped nearby. He was witty, intense, but when he invited her back to his place, she froze. The pattern was clear. Each encounter left her emptier, not fuller. She declined, went home, and deleted the app, staring at the vision board still pinned to her wall. Adam's forever note mocked her. Adam, meanwhile, took Lena up on a group hike in the Everglades. Her easy humor and quiet strength felt like a balm. They lagged behind the group, talking about their childhoods, his in a loud Cuban-American family, hers in a small Georgia town. When she tripped on a root, he caught her arm, and their laughter broke the tension. He didn't call it a date, but he felt something shift, a spark he hadn't expected. As Ruby wrestled with her choices, Adam was stepping into a life that didn't include her, each move deliberate, each day a brick in a new foundation. Ruby sat in her car outside a neon-lit Miami Beach club, gripping the steering wheel as music pulsed through the windows. She'd agreed to meet Javier, a charismatic fitness trainer she'd matched with online, but her stomach churned. 2 weeks had passed since Adam shut the door on her at Jake's apartment, and the sting of his words, "I'm not an experiment," still burned. She deleted the dating app once, but reinstalled it hours later, desperate to prove her quest for freedom wasn't a mistake. Javier waved from the entrance, all charm and confidence. They danced, his hands guiding her through the crowd. But when he suggested a quieter bar nearby, Ruby's mind flashed to Adam's steady presence. She excused herself, claiming a headache, and drove home, leaving Javier confused on the sidewalk. Alone in her apartment, she opened her laptop and started sketching a new design project, hoping work would drown out the unease creeping in. Adam, meanwhile, was thriving in a way that surprised even him. His AI startup pitch won funding, and he celebrated with his team at a downtown brewery, clinking glasses under string lights. Lena joined them, invited by a mutual colleague. She teased Adam about his terrible pool game, her laughter pulling him into a lightness he hadn't felt in months. They stepped outside for air, the Miami skyline glittering across the bay. Lena shared how she'd once left a toxic relationship, choosing herself over comfort. "It's scary, but it's worth it," she said. Adam nodded, her words resonating. He didn't mention Ruby, but Lena's clarity made him realize he'd been right to walk away. He texted her later, suggesting a coffee run, and she agreed with an emoji that made him smile. Ruby's world was shrinking. Her boss scheduled SUVs pulled her aside after a botched client presentation, citing her lack of focus. "Get it together, Ruby," he warned. She nodded, but her mind was elsewhere, on Adam, on the life she'd detonated. Her friends' group chat had gone quiet, and when she called Sophia for drinks, Sophia claimed a work emergency. Ruby sensed the truth. Her social circle was icing her out. Desperate for connection, she met her old college friend, Elena, at a Coconut Grove wine bar. Elena listened as Ruby vented about her self-discovery phase, but cut her off mid-sentence. "You heard him, Ruby. People pick sides." Stung, Ruby left early, her confidence cracking. At home, she scrolled through social media, spotting a photo of Adam at a charity run, Lena by his side, both smiling. The image hit like a punch. She was losing him for good. Adam's days were full, purposeful. He spent mornings coding, afternoons mentoring teens, and evenings with Lena, who became a quiet anchor. They biked along Key Biscayne, stopping to watch dolphins arc through the water. Lena shared her dream of opening a free clinic for kids, and Adam, inspired, offered to build its website. Their connection deepened, unhurried but real. When she invited him to a salsa class, he hesitated. Dancing wasn't his thing, but her playful nudge won him over. On the dance floor, he fumbled the steps, but her patience and warm grip made him forget the crowd. For the first time since Ruby, he felt unburdened, like he could breathe. Ruby doubled down on her mission, determined to outrun her doubts. She met Carlos, a DJ, at a Winwood rooftop party. His energy was electric, and their night together was intense, no strings attached. But as he left her apartment at dawn, the high faded. She stared at the ceiling, the silence louder than ever. Her phone pinged, a text from Mateo, inviting her to an art gallery opening. Hopeful for a thaw in their friendship, she agreed. At the event, she spotted Adam across the room, Lena's arm looped through his. Their ease, their quiet joy, was a mirror of what she'd thrown away. She approached, heart pounding, and said, "Hey, can we talk?" Adam's gaze was calm, distant. "There's nothing to say, Ruby." Lena squeezed his hand, and they walked away, leaving Ruby frozen, the gallery's chatter swallowing her. She fled to her car, tears blurring the streetlights. Her freedom was a trap. She'd traded love for fleeting highs, and now her world felt hollow. At home, she pulled out their old vision board, tracing Adam's handwriting on the forever note. For the first time, she admitted she might have been wrong. She texted Adam, begging to meet, but his reply was a single line, "I've moved on." The words landed like a slammed door. Ruby curled up on her couch, the weight of her choices crushing her. Across town, Adam and Lena shared a late-night taco truck dinner, laughing over a spilled soda, their bond growing stronger, untainted by the past. Ruby stood outside a bustling Miami food truck festival, the smell of grilled arepas mixing with her unease. It had been a month since the gallery opening, where Adam's cold dismissal, "I've moved on," had shattered her resolve. She'd stopped dating, the thrill of new faces now a hollow ritual. Her phone stayed silent. Her friends' group chats no longer included her, and her design work suffered, with clients rejecting her latest drafts. She'd come to the festival hoping to reconnect with Elena, but when she spotted her near a taco truck, Elena gave a curt wave and turned away, engrossed in conversation with others. Ruby's chest tightened. She was an outsider in her own life. Desperate for a distraction, she joined a salsa dancing crowd, moving to the beat, but the music couldn't drown out her spiraling thoughts. She left early, driving aimlessly through South Beach, past the neon-lit clubs where she'd once chased freedom. At a red light, she opened her journal and scribbled a single question. What did I lose for this? Adam, meanwhile, was building something solid. His AI startup landed a major client, and he celebrated by treating his team to a boat tour around Biscayne Bay. Lena joined, her presence a steady comfort. As the boat cut through the water, she challenged him to a mock coding quiz, her playful jabs making him laugh harder than he had in months. Later, they docked at a small island, sharing empanadas and stories about their worst first dates. Lena's honesty, her admission of fearing commitment after past heartbreaks, made Adam open up about Ruby, the first time he'd spoken her name since the breakup. She wanted freedom, but it broke us, he said, tossing a pebble into the waves. Lena listened, then squeezed his hand. "You chose yourself. That's strength." He smiled, feeling lighter, and asked her to join him for a weekend volunteering trip with the youth center. She said yes without hesitation. Ruby's isolation deepened. Her boss put her on probation after another client complaint, urging her to take a week off to reset. She used the time to visit her parents in Key West, hoping their warmth would ground her. Over dinner, she confessed her breakup with Adam, framing it as a mutual drift. Her mom's sharp look cut through the lie. "You push him away, Ruby. Love doesn't survive tests like that." Stung, Ruby drove back to Miami, her parents' words echoing. She tried texting Sophia again, suggesting a coffee meetup, but got a polite decline. "Busy lately, maybe next month." The rejection landed hard. Ruby scrolled through old photos on her phone. Her and Adam kayaking, laughing at a street fair, planning their wedding. She deleted them one by one, each swipe a reluctant admission of her mistake. Adam's life was moving forward. He and Lena led a coding workshop at the youth center, teaching teens to build a simple app. One kid, Miguel, shyly showed Adam his game prototype, and Adam's patient feedback earned a rare grin. Lena watched, impressed, and later suggested they grab dinner at a little Havana spot. Over mojitos, she shared her plan to apply for a grant to fund her clinic dream. Adam offered to connect her with a tech investor he knew, his enthusiasm genuine. Their conversation stretched late, and when he walked her to her car, she kissed his cheek, a quiet promise of more. He drove home, the memory of her touch lingering, and realized he hadn't thought of Ruby in days. Ruby, desperate to reclaim some control, signed up for a local art class, hoping creativity would fill the void. She painted abstract shapes, but her instructor noticed her distraction and suggested she journal her emotions instead. At home, Ruby wrote pages about her regret, not just for losing Adam, but for misunderstanding what freedom meant. She called Mateo, leaving a voicemail apologizing for her choices and asking to talk. He didn't call back. The next day, she saw a post from the youth center tagging Adam and Lena in a group photo, their smiles radiant. Ruby's heart sank. She was watching Adam build a new life, one she no longer fit into. She texted him one last time, "I'm sorry. Can we just talk?" Her phone stayed silent. Adam and Lena's bond grew stronger. They spent a weekend in the Keys, not as a couple, but as two people testing a deeper connection. They snorkeled, laughed at Adam's clumsy flipper moves, and shared a quiet sunset on the beach. Lena didn't push for labels, and Adam appreciated her patience. Back in Miami, he invited her to meet his sister, Carla, at a family barbecue. Carla pulled him aside, grinning. "She's good for you, Adam. Don't let this one go." He nodded, feeling a certainty he hadn't known with Ruby. As Ruby grappled with her fading world, Adam was laying roots in a new one. Each step deliberate, each moment a choice to move forward without looking back. Ruby clutched an invitation to Mateo's gallery opening in Wynwood, her fingers tracing the embossed letters. 3 months had passed since Adam's final text, "I've moved on," and the silence that followed had forced her to confront her choices. Her apartment, once a shared haven with Adam, now felt like a museum of regrets. She'd quit the dating scene, her art class sketches abandoned, and her job hung by a thread after another missed deadline. The invitation was a rare olive branch from a friend who hadn't fully cut her off. She decided to go, hoping to rebuild bridges, but her stomach knotted at the thought of seeing Adam. She arrived at the gallery, the air thick with chatter and clinking glasses. Scanning the crowd, she spotted familiar faces, but their quick smiles and averted eyes confirmed her isolation. Then she saw him, Adam, standing near a vibrant mural, laughing with Lena, their hands brushing casually. The sight was a quiet gut punch, proof of a life that no longer included her. Adam, unaware of Ruby's presence, was at ease. His startup was thriving, and he'd just secured a patent for his AI algorithm. Lena, now a regular part of his weekends, had moved her clinic grant proposal forward with his help. They'd spent the previous day kayaking in Key Biscayne, her playful splash battles breaking through his last walls. At the gallery, she pointed out a bold, abstract painting, teasing him about his lack of art knowledge. He grinned, suggesting they take an art history class together. Their chemistry was effortless, built on mutual respect, not ultimatums. When Lena stepped away to greet a colleague, Adam turned and locked eyes with Ruby across the room. His expression didn't falter. No anger, no warmth, just a nod of acknowledgement before he joined Lena again. Ruby's breath caught. She'd rehearsed this moment, planning to apologize, to explain her regret, but his indifference stopped her cold. She grabbed a drink from a passing tray, hoping to steady herself, and approached Mateo, who was hosting. "Thanks for inviting me," she said, her voice tight. Mateo hugged her but kept it brief. "Glad you're here, Ruby. It's been a while." His tone was kind but distant, a reminder of the friendships she'd strained. She asked about Adam, fishing for insight, but Mateo deflected. "He's doing great. Let's talk about you. What's next?" She mumbled about a new design project, but her heart wasn't in it. Watching Adam and Lena share a quiet laugh, she realized no words could undo her choices. Adam and Lena left the gallery early, heading to a late-night diner in Coconut Grove. Over burgers, Lena shared her nerves about presenting her grant proposal. Adam offered to rehearse with her, his support unwavering. She reached across the table, squeezing his hand. "You make this easy," she said. He smiled, the weight of his past with Ruby gone. Later, he dropped her off at her apartment, and she invited him in for coffee. They talked until midnight, planning a weekend trip to the Everglades. When he left, he felt a clarity he hadn't known in years. This was what trust looked like. Ruby stayed at the gallery until the crowd thinned, avoiding Adam's orbit. Mateo found her near a sculpture, staring blankly. "You okay?" he asked. She shook her head, admitting, "I thought I wanted freedom, but I broke something real." Mateo listened, then said, "You can't undo the past, but you can learn from it." His words lingered as she drove home. At her apartment, she opened her journal, writing pages about the love she'd lost and the emptiness her pursuit had left. She booked a therapy session the next day, determined to understand why she'd gambled her future for fleeting thrills. Her phone buzzed, a client email offering a chance to redesign their brand. She replied, vowing to pour herself into work, to rebuild from the ground up. Adam's life was blooming. He and Lena volunteered at a youth coding camp, where he taught kids to debug their apps while she led a health workshop. Their teamwork felt natural, their bond deepening. At a family dinner, his parents embraced Lena, charmed by her warmth. His sister whispered, "She's the real deal." Adam agreed, asking Lena to be his girlfriend over a quiet beach walk. She said yes, her smile bright under the moonlight. He didn't need to announce his happiness. It showed in his steady steps, his easy laughter, his choice to live without looking back. Ruby woke the next morning to a notification, Mateo's wedding invite, set at the same Coconut Grove venue she and Adam had chosen. The coincidence stung, a reminder of her lost future. She RSVP'd yes, not out of hope, but to face her truth. At the wedding, she saw Adam and Lena dancing, their connection undeniable. She didn't approach, didn't speak. Instead, she left quietly, carrying a new resolve. Therapy had begun to unravel her need for validation, her fear of missing out. She took on freelance projects, reconnected with Elena over coffee, and started sketching again, each stroke a step toward herself. Adam's life was no longer hers to claim, but Ruby was learning to build one of her own, grounded not in freedom's illusion, but in accountability's quiet strength.